know that the skin microbiota and the brain are connected through an existing natural pathway where the microbiota is the first link that can improve your mood. The skin is a social organ that produces neurochemicals like oxytocin, which activates positively the brain pleasure centers and modify our state of mind, which can alter how others perceive us. This leads us to the new microbiota skin-brain axis. The skin microbiota, as a third brain, is able to stimulate the synthesis of these happiness neurochemicals by our skin and connect with our brain, turning our mood. What if we could stimulate it to produce those neurochemicals to feel better and look prettier? That's what Kannabia Sense does. Kannabia Sense is an innovative prebiotic treatment that stimulates the skin microbiota to produce a positive in situ postbiotic cocktail that ignites the synthesis of cutaneous oxytocin, driving to a well-being response. Our active is named as the Microbiota Whisperer. Nourishing and taking care of our skin commensal microbiota leads to beneficial molecules for our skin. Kannabia Sense is the first generation of cannabis sativa plant stem cells active and doesn't contain the controversial cannabinoids tetrahydrocannabinol and cannabidiol. We carried out a complete panel of tests to demonstrate the ingredients' efficacy. In the first in vitro, we saw that Kannabia Sense reduced the microbial stress and virulence-related metabolites and made the bacteria produce a healthy in situ postbiotic that triggers the synthesis of the oxytocin from the cutaneous skin cells. The second in vitro showed that Kannabia Sense stimulated the bacteria and triggered a natural pathway where oxytocin is produced by the sensory neurons, being the first piece of this domino effect in the positive brain activation. We demonstrated the stimulation of the brain activation through the skin and the modulation of microbiota skin-brain axis thanks to our active. For the clinical evaluation, we first focused on our ingredient's skin-well aging effect. After applying Kannabia Sense, the volunteers declared to feel more relaxed, happier, and more confident. We observed a clear positive effect on the emotional wrinkles in those volunteers who were more reactive. Secondly, we investigated how our active affected to the brain activity and the state of people's mood. For the first time in cosmetics, we used the functional magnetic resonance imaging to analyze positive brain activation. On this in vivo assay, we analyzed 132 brain regions in correlation coefficient matrices where red areas indicated a strong brain activation and blue areas a low brain activation. Compared to placebo, Kannabia Sense demonstrated a higher positive brain activation after only 15 minutes, while producing an even higher positive activation of the brain pleasure zones at 28 days, following the oxytocin activation patterns. Science has demonstrated that chocolate stimulates the brain pleasure areas related with oxytocin delivery. By comparing the brain activation pattern of both chocolate and Kannabia Sense, we found that they were very similar in achieving an oxytocin-like effect. Finally, our assay showed that Kannabia Sense was able to satisfactorily increase the positive emotions of the volunteers. Kannabia Sense activates a 4-steps beauty pathway. Our product stimulates positively the skin microbiota. This activates brain pleasure areas, which induces a better self-perception and positive emotions. All these steps end up in a promotion of a healthier and prettier skin. Kannabia Sense, the Microbiota Whisperer.